Cristiano Ronaldo has spent half his life being measured against Lionel Messi. But now, the men who shared his locker room are talking. And they're not whispering compliments. They're saying Ronaldo has been quietly jealous of Messi for years, and the receipts are ugly. Let me lay it all out for you. Wayne Rooney lit the match, and Ronaldo made absolutely sure the whole planet knew it left a burn. Rooney and Ronaldo ran together at Manchester United from 2004 to 2009 and built one of the deadliest attacking duos the Premier League has ever seen. This was no casual partnership. These two were brothers in arms. They lifted the Champions League side by side, the Holy Grail itself. They won the Premier League together 3 times. So if anyone on earth was supposed to ride for Ronaldo, no questions asked, it was Wayne Rooney. He was the guaranteed yes. So when Rooney finally weighed in on the Messi question, the entire football world hit pause. Here's the kicker. Rooney never even shared a pitch with Messi, and he still didn't hesitate. He flat out admitted he rolls with the Argentine in the GOAT debate. His words, "I think Messi. I think he's just the best ever." Sit with that for 1 second. His strike partner of 5 years, the guy he bled next to, the man he went to war with every single weekend in the Premier League, looking the camera dead in the eye and picking Messi. Rooney knew the heat was coming. He owned it. I get a lot of stick for saying Messi, where it's as if, how can you say Messi? It's Ronaldo. And here's the thing. He gets why people pick either guy. People can say Messi. People can say Ronaldo. Fine. He just wasn't going to pretend. He kept saying it anyway. And Ronaldo? Oh, he clocked it. Ronaldo always clocks it. The man was clearly stung, and we know that because of what he did next. He fired off a reply on Rooney's own Instagram post within hours of it going public. That is not the move of a man who's unbothered. That's a guy who monitors what his old teammates say, opens the app, and claps back. That tiny detail tells you everything. Then Piers Morgan sat Ronaldo down for one of those explosive interviews and brought up Rooney directly, and Ronaldo's read on the whole thing? He said his old teammate was jealous. He literally reached for that word. So his explanation for a man who fought beside him for 5 years, who lifted trophies with him, who knows him better than almost anybody, isn't honesty, isn't a fair opinion. It's jealousy, plain and simple. And Rooney came right back swinging with a smile. He said, "There's probably not a football player on the planet that isn't jealous of Cristiano. The career he's had, the trophies he's won, the money he's earned, the six-pack, his body. I mean, the man went there. And then the dagger. I think every player bar, probably Lionel Messi, is jealous of Cristiano." Read that one more time, slowly. He handed Ronaldo a bouquet of flowers. He said basically every footballer alive is jealous of the guy, the ultimate compliment, right? And then he surgically carved Messi out of the whole group, as if to say the one human on earth with zero reason to envy Ronaldo is the exact same human you can't stop measuring yourself against. That was the most politely brutal thing anyone had said about Ronaldo in years, and it came from inside the house. From family. Rooney swore there was no bad blood, insisted he holds nothing against Ronaldo, but he did not budge an inch on the Messi pick. He wasn't backing down, wasn't apologizing, wasn't softening. He said it, and he kept on saying it. Now, you could shrug and say, okay, that's just Rooney. One man, one opinion. But this is exactly where it gets juicy, because Rooney was nowhere near alone. Not even close. The list of Ronaldo's former teammates who've gone on the record for Messi keeps growing, and the way Ronaldo reacts every single time tells a story all by itself. Here's what makes this rivalry of titans so wild. This isn't just entertainment for the fans. Ronaldo genuinely cares. So does Messi. He just hides it a whole lot better. And somewhere along the way, this debate got completely tangled up with their old teammates, for a bunch of reasons. For years, there was an unwritten rule, a code. If you played club ball with Ronaldo, you said his name when somebody asked who the modern GOAT was. If you played with Messi, you backed Messi. Simple, No exceptions. It was practically a loyalty oath, an unspoken pact. You ride for your teammate, period. But that code started cracking, and once the first crack appeared, it just kept splitting. The real question is, what broke it? And why does Ronaldo's reaction keep pouring gasoline on the fire? If Rooney started the conversation, Toni Kroos is the one who made it undeniable, because Kroos wasn't just any old teammate. This was a Real Madrid teammate, deep in the trenches. A guy who won the Champions League alongside Ronaldo more than once. And inside the Bernabeu, picking Ronaldo in the GOAT debate wasn't just expected, it was basically a religion. Gospel. Kroos used to say it without blinking. From my playing days, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Of course, I'm biased because he made a decisive contribution to us winning a lot of titles, and he called playing next to Ronaldo thrilling, genuinely special. So that's the stance locked in stone. Kroos was a Ronaldo man through and through. Loyal by experience, loyal by trophies, loyal by everything they built together. And get this, under those Bernabeu floodlights, he added that they weren't just teammates, they were neighbors. In the dressing room and in actual real life. Like, fence-sharing neighbors, he said. He lived right next to me. Seeing what a perfectionist he is was impressive. That is why it is forbidden for me to name Messi. Forbidden. Pay attention to that word. Not wrong, not unfair. Forbidden. As if even speaking Messi's name out loud would be a betrayal of everything they shared. Like loyalty mattered more than the truth. And for years, that held. Then, Argentina beat France. Messi finally lifted the World Cup. And the whole equation flipped overnight. Even Kroos, with all those ties to Ronaldo, seemed to change his tune after that final. He admitted it. He deserves it in terms of individual performances in a championship. I've never seen a footballer play as regularly as this guy. And then he twisted the knife with a little German dryness, pointing out Messi never even played for clubs. He finds all that fun. His words, which he insisted only proves he means it. That proves I mean it line is Kroos basically saying, I have no reason to defend Messi here. I never wore a Barcelona shirt. I won trophies. With Ronaldo. Every bias I have should point his way, and I'm still telling you it's Messi. That is not some lazy hot take. That's a man who spent years calling it forbidden to even whisper Messi's name in this conversation, completely flipping his own script. That's a tectonic shift, and it came from a guy who literally lived next door to Ronaldo. The neighbor switched sides. Now picture Ronaldo watching that happen in real time. Kroos, his neighbor, his Champions League brother. The man who once called naming Messi forbidden, suddenly saying the Argentine deserves it. And meaning every syllable. And then the ground kept moving. Ronaldo's stock took a real hit in 2022 when his second Manchester United chapter melted down into chaos and frustration and ended, messily, with a move to Al Nassr. And just weeks later, Messi finally lifted that World Cup, scoring twice in a final for the ages against France. Then again, in the shootout. The timing was almost cruel. Ronaldo exits Europe under a storm cloud, and Messi grabs the one prize Ronaldo never could, in the very same month. And the teammates who once felt forbidden from saying Messi's name, they started finding their voices. When Kroos got asked at the end of that tournament, he told Magenta TV, Messi deserves it in terms of individual performances at championships. I've never seen a footballer play as consistently as this guy. No hedging, no both a great cop-out. Just, Messi deserves it. And Ronaldo, sitting in Riyadh, couldn't fire back a single word to knock it down. Because this wasn't some hater with an axe to grind. This was a man who'd defended him for years. Who'd lived beside him, won European Cups beside him. And that same Kroos watched what Messi did in Qatar and changed his mind out loud, in public. The old rule, ride for your teammate, wasn't just cracking anymore. It was dead and buried. Now, Rooney is loud. Kroos is respected. But Paul Scholes, Different animal entirely. Scholes is the guy who barely opens his mouth. So when he does talk, the whole sport leans in to listen. Scholes spent years at United next to Ronaldo. During that first spell, he saw the unfinished version, the skinny kid from Madeira who still had to be told where to stand on the pitch. And Scholes, a man who guards his opinions like state secrets, has gone on the record more than once putting Messi above his old teammate. And Scholes, who never misses a chance to praise Ronaldo, told ESPN after watching Messi dismantle Tottenham at Wembley, "Messi, but Ronaldo is brilliant. Ronaldo is sensational at what he does with pace and power. He scores, he takes free kicks, but as an all-round footballer, Messi, wow, his passing has absolutely everything, and that's the genius of how Scholes makes his case. He never tears Ronaldo down to lift Messi up. He does something far more unsettling. He praises Ronaldo lavishly, in specific, generous detail, and then still puts Messi on top. That leaves you no escape hatch, no way to call him biased or tribal. He watched Ronaldo up close for years. He knows exactly what the man can do. And he still says Messi. Now let's name the pattern out loud, because the numbers back it up. Look at the players who've actually shared a pitch with both legends. Messi comes out on top. Of the 22 men who've played with both, 8 say Messi is better, while 5 ride for Ronaldo. The rest just couldn't separate them. Let that one land. 22 people. The single most qualified jury on the entire planet for this exact argument. The only humans who've stood in a training session with both, watched how both prepare, how both communicate, how both lead a room. And out of those 22, the ones with a firm pick lean Messi. And not by a sliver, either. Nearly 2-1. And that's precisely what makes Ronaldo's reaction so revealing. Because when Ronaldo starts calling people jealous, when he's firing off comments online, when he sits across from Piers Morgan and paints every conversation as a personal witch hunt, it stops reading like confidence, it starts reading like something else entirely. Something that Rooney, of all people, said straight to his face. Here's the irony. The word jealous was dropped into this story by Ronaldo himself. He used it to describe Rooney. But his former teammates have spent years quietly building the opposite case, flipping that very word right back around. Not out of spite, not to score cheap points, just through the sheer, steady weight of what they keep, saying over and over, Scholes, Rooney, Cruyff. 3 men who stood in the same dressing rooms as Ronaldo, 3 men who won silverware with him, trained beside him, saw the version of the guy the cameras never get to film. And all 3 of them, unprompted, across different years, in different countries, keep circling back to the exact same name. Then, in September 2023, Ronaldo announced the rivalry with Messi was over, done, finished. After 36 official meetings and 15 years of sharing the spotlight. He declared it closed. He wanted to walk away. But the old teammates didn't get the memo. The conversation refused to die. And every time a fresh name landed on that list, Ronaldo's grand declaration that it was over started to sound less like a fact and more like a man trying to convince himself. Now, here's the thing about Piers Morgan. He's handed Ronaldo the mic over and over, a stage where Ronaldo can say literally anything, totally unchallenged, and every single time, Ronaldo struts away convinced he won. But the internet, and his former teammates, came away with a completely different read. So Ronaldo, now 40 years old, sat down for a brand new 2-part interview with Piers Morgan on Morgan Uncensored in early November 2025, and it went viral fast. Full of blunt, defiant, no-filter takes on his forever rivalry with Messi, on what the World Cup really means for a legacy, and on his ongoing run at Al Nassr. And in that interview, he did the one thing guaranteed to torch social media. He went straight for the World Cup argument, The single trophy Messi owns that he doesn't, and tried to shrink it down to nothing. Here's how Ronaldo's logic went. How many World Cups did Argentina win before Messi even showed up? It's normal for them, he said. They're used to winning. But if Portugal ever lifted it, the whole world would lose its mind. Take a beat and follow that reasoning. He's arguing Argentina's win counts for less, simply because they'd won before. Portugal winning would mean more, because it'd be rarer. Which, conveniently, means he never actually answers the real question, whether what Messi did was great. He's just quietly dragging the goalposts across the field, so what Messi achieved gets downgraded to ordinary, and what Ronaldo might someday do becomes legendary. The interview reignited the never-ending GOAT war, with Ronaldo pushing back hard on any narrative that favored Messi while casually shrinking certain achievements, which detonated a wave of backlash, memes, and bitterly split fan reactions all over the internet. To be fair, Ronaldo faced the GOAT question head-on, flatly rejecting any idea that Messi has passed him, even though Messi is the most decorated footballer in history, 40 club and country titles to Ronaldo's 35, and 8 Ballon d'Ors. And yet, when Morgan asked if he'd earned the right to be called the greatest of all time, Ronaldo didn't blink. Of course. And he threw his hands up like the question itself insulted him. And here's where the teammate storyline circles back in a very pointed way. Because while Ronaldo's parked on that sofa swearing the case is closed, the men who actually shared his dressing rooms are very much keeping the case wide open. Rooney doubled down on his pick. Cruyff didn't take a single thing back. Scholes hasn't budged either. Rooney kept insisting he holds no grudge against Ronaldo while holding his pro-Messi stance rock solid. And Ronaldo's camp dragged it back up in the Morgan interview as proof of betrayal. And that's the word Ronaldo's world keeps reaching for: betrayal, jealousy, as if the only possible reason someone who knows you well would pick the other guy is that they must somehow be compromised. So the question just hangs there. Is Ronaldo simply trying to shrink his eternal rival's accomplishments, or is something deeper rattling around underneath? Or is he, yet again, trying to chip away at the legend of his eternal nemesis, Lionel Messi? And then there's the Saudi Arabia angle, which actually matters here. Yes, Saudi football is growing fast, but let's be honest, it's still mostly seen as the place aging superstars go to stretch out their careers. And while Ronaldo's been racking up goals, one honest look at his Al Nassr highlight reel shows he's feasting on disorganized defenses and goalkeeping that would get benched in a Sunday league. So the context around these interviews matters a lot. He left elite European football. Messi rolled into MLS with Inter Miami and somehow still had the entire planet talking about him. The comparisons didn't stop just because Ronaldo changed continents. And with every Morgan interview where Ronaldo digs in deeper, his former teammates' quiet, steady, consistent verdict on the GOAT question only rings louder by contrast. The people who know him best simply aren't buying the show. Now, to be fair, not every old teammate has flipped. Patrice Evra is the clearest counterexample of all. Evra, a former teammate and genuinely close friend, has openly picked Ronaldo as his guy, and he is loud about it. When Ronaldo banged in his 950th career goal, Evra ran straight to X and posted 950 goals, and people still argue. No subtlety whatsoever. He planted himself fully in Ronaldo's corner and waved that tweet like flag. And while Ronaldo's fans ate it up, it didn't take long for Messi fans to swarm the post and absolutely cook Evra in the replies. They were quick to remind everyone Messi had beaten Evra in 3 Champions League finals: 2009, 2011, and 2015. And that detail is worth chewing on. Evra wasn't just watching those finals from the couch. He was on the losing end of all 3. Messi's Barcelona against Evra's Manchester United, and Messi won every single one. And Evra still goes to war for Ronaldo without a second's hesitation. After 4 years sharing a dressing room with him at Old Trafford, of course, he backs his old Portuguese teammate in the GOAT debate, but given some of the things he's said about Messi over the years, Argentina's fans are quick to come straight for his throat. And Evra himself has tried to set the record straight. He doesn't actually dislike Messi. In a recent interview, Evra clarified that preferring Ronaldo doesn't mean he hates the other guy. When fans say, "I prefer Cristiano over Messi," they think I hate Messi. He was pushing back against the all-or-nothing trap, but the internet, as always, prefers the cleaner, simpler story. Now, here's the twist. Evra's loyalty actually makes the bigger picture more interesting, not less, because it proves some former teammates genuinely do stick with Ronaldo. Loyalty is real. It's deeply human. But here's the catch. Even inside that loyal circle, the ones breaking away are doing it with such clarity and consistency. Rooney, Scholes, Cruyff. That tells you something. Evra's allegiance, real as it is, just can't cancel out. Now, Messi himself? He's denied any rivalry at all and points the finger at the media for cooking it up, saying it's only the press that wants them at each other's throats, and that he's never once fought with Cristiano. And honestly, that might be the most telling detail in the entire saga. Messi says there's no war. Ronaldo's out here calling people jealous. And Ronaldo's former teammates, the people sitting in the absolute best seats to judge both players clearly, keep quietly lining up on the same side. Author Luca Caioli even wrote, in his book literally titled Ronaldo, The Obsession for Perfection, that according to his sources, Ronaldo heats up, gets fired up, whenever he watches Messi play. That book title alone is pulling some serious weight. And Guillem Balaguer's book on Ronaldo pushed even sharper claims about what Ronaldo allegedly says about Messi behind closed doors. Claims Ronaldo denied and threatened to sue over, but which spread far and wide anyway. It's widely argued and well documented that there's a real undercurrent of competition running between these two. Ballet claimed in that book on Ronaldo that he refers to his Argentine counterpart in deeply personal terms behind his back. Ronaldo flatly denied all of it and threatened legal action, writing that he holds the utmost respect for all his professional colleagues and that Messi is, quote, obviously no exception. But the pattern, that's the tell. The Instagram comment under Rooney's post. The Morgan interviews where he circles back to Messi without even being asked. The constant attempts to redefine what a World Cup trophy is even worth. None of it, not one piece of it, looks like the behavior of a man who's truly at peace with where he stands. Because if he really, truly believed he was the greatest, he wouldn't need to announce it in public quite so often. And here's the painful irony. Ronaldo would actually get the love he's chasing if he could just be a little more humble. And meanwhile, the teammates keep right on talking. Rooney keeps saying Messi. Scholes keeps saying Messi. Cruyff, after years of calling it flat out forbidden, said Messi deserves it and never once walked it back. As one football expert put it, Ronaldo and Messi push each other. They make each other better. And even buried inside that grudging respect, there's a flicker of real resentment. They couldn't be more different, but they'd both admit they're better because of it, because of the constant pushing, pulling, and clawing to be better than the other guy. And honestly, that might be the most honest framing in this whole story. The rivalry made both of them greater than either could have been alone. Messi had to become a World Cup winner partly because Ronaldo existed. Ronaldo shattered goal records partly because Messi kept dragging the ceiling higher. They needed each other. But Messi seems to have made his peace with that truth. Ronaldo, according to the people who know him best, his own former teammates, just hasn't. And they keep saying it, quietly, steadily, no theatrics, which, when you really think about it, might just be the loudest verdict of all.